Hi friends, it's Carly and I am back again with another review. As requested and promised, today I'll be looking at the Mcfarlane DC Multiverse Wonder Woman 1984 action figures. Since I'm doing two figures in this review, I'm going to get started right away with classic costumed Wonder Woman. So looking just an overall glance from head to toe, I, again, on this Mcfarlane figure, really admire the sculpt and paintwork, particularly her face, which clearly looks like the actress. This is based on the movie version of the character. Looks like Gal Gadot. The costume is a beautiful rendering of the costume that she wears in the film from top to bottom. I really love the mixing of textures from bright, shiny metallic to what looks like leather straps on her sandals, which I love the boot sandal look. I think that's a great way to harken back to her being a goddess. The mattified panels on her skirt, which again, the sculpt looks like a skirt that would be worn by a goddess. So we're reminded that Diana is not just a superhero, but she is a goddess as well. And I really love the sculpt and the high metallic, high gloss paint on her chest armor that makes it look like armor. I've really loved that this Wonder Woman, although she's a goddess, looks armored because she fights. So, I mean, having armor no matter what, even Thor wears armor. So seeing this be a metallic, plated armor piece is really great for me. I really like seeing that. Her armbands, silver and gold, are shiny and metallic. We can see here that she has the star detail. And her headband also. So I feel like the paintwork and the overall sculpt on this is really outstanding. Now when we get into the points of articulation, I do find a couple of issues. We will not go into great detail on the arms here because we've recently done that with the Spawn figure, and we know that arms and legs on Mcfarlane figures are great. We don't have the turning in the thigh, which I miss, but I love the way they do ankles and feet, having the toe that bends and having the ankle turn all the way around instead of having the boot turn. We have great movement and simple points, simple stop points in the articulation, and you can pause anywhere between. The arms are the same with turning biceps, turning wrists, and fully articulate hands. They also do a great job with double jointed elbows on these. So there we go. I guess I did quickly cover the points of articulation on the arms and legs, which are always fantastic. But one of my pet peeves that you guys know is that you can't get a full pose if you can't move the head, and we have that here. Her hair looks gorgeous as far as the sculpt and the paintwork goes. Again, we see them using that really refined dry brushing technique to give her hair high and low lights, depth, light, and darkness. But putting her hair over her shoulders here prevents all movement. Now, you can take the sides of her head, so you can take the sides of her hair and force them back. The head itself will turn. It's the hair that's preventing that from happening. So you can take the hair and force it back like this and be able to lift a little bit, not much. You can see that it sort of pops back because of the hair. She can look down a little bit and we can get that right and left motion. But this is then what you're getting on the hair and the back. So that is frustrating. I'm sick and tired, quite frankly, of seeing that by all manufacturers, whether it is Hasbro, Marvel Legends, whether it's Mcfarlane, whether it's Mattel. I'm tired of seeing it. I don't want to see it anymore. We can't have a fully, highly articulated figure whose head doesn't move. It just doesn't make sense. And no matter what the hair looks like, find a way to do it so that we can use it. And that is really the biggest beef that I have about this figure that really upsets me. The second issue with articulation on this is in her abdomen. She turns here at the top. So the movement right to left is fine. But when we start to lean back, we get this gaping hole, this large negative space right here. And that really frustrates me. You also get it on the back because literally the the point of articulation is in her back. So it's a piece like this that moves around. And all that it would have taken to avoid this would be to build up her abdomen and curve it back just a little bit like this. So have it be 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch even taller, and just curve it back to fill that negative space. Also, the exact same thing on the back. To build it up like this bottom piece here of the abdomen, and just curve the top a little bit. It seems like a do-nothing solution, and I'm frustrated that they didn't do that, because this, you definitely can't get a good pose leaning her back in any direction. It just doesn't look like the pieces fit together. Other than that, the only other complaint that I really have about this figure is her legs. They are completely shapeless, and there's no musculature, no muscle tone like there is in her arms and her shoulders. There's no sculpting whatsoever. They are 2 straight rectangular lines that literally, to me, look like hot dogs. And I said this in a review that I did in a Facebook group. Once I said hot doggy legs, that's all I could see, and it's all I can see still. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they gave her no time and attention as far as a sculpt here, giving her musculature, making her legs look like human legs. And when we look at the Golden Eagle armor, you'll see they did a great job there. So this is strange and bothersome to me. Other than that, on the whole, from a distance, facing straight on, the sculpt is beautiful from head to skirt and knees down. And the costume looks beautiful. The paintwork is fantastic as always. And the facial sculpt is really unrivaled. I don't think they could have done a better job with her face. The accessories that she comes with are a little bit strange to me. She comes with a lasso. Right? So she has her lasso of truth there. And another one that is like an action one. Do you see what I'm saying? So that seems really weird to me that she didn't have a sword, especially since when you look at her hands, they are clearly sculpted for swords. Having 2 of these felt a little weird to me. I will only probably use the one on her waist because there is a hook on her belt for it. And without anything on it, that hook looks strange. So the accessory pack was weird to me. It also, each of these figures came with a trading card, which is pretty cool, because then you can look side by side and see what a great job they did with the sculpt there. And since it's a 1984 film, you know, this is really, trading cards were the hallmark of the 80s, and I think it's really cool that they've got like her little stat sheet on the back here. I thought that was a really thoughtful detail, and it's a substantial card. It doesn't bend, it's very thick, so this is a really cool collector's item. Like, it's a pretty sturdy card. I like this feature. I thought that was a very thoughtful detail. And then she comes with the typical Mcfarlane simple black peg stand to stand on, which as I played with her, she does need. She really can't stand very well on her own without this peg, but it's unobtrusive and easy to put on the shelf. So that is that for classic costume Wonder Woman. I really like her. The only issues I have are with those couple articulation points and her legs, which were strange. Now looking at Golden Eagle armor, starting right away at the top, I think that she looks beautiful. She looks as impressive as she's meant to. The details in the wings are gorgeous, and the various different techniques used to sculpt the armor are fantastic. From woven pieces on her arms, to plate on her chest and torso, to chain on her legs with plating on the side. I love the depth of detail that they give to a costume that is made out of one uniform substance. So this is all golden armor. It may seem like there's not a lot you can do with that, but they absolutely did. The sculpting of the wings is stunning. The feathers look like feathers. So I think they really made the most out of using this uniform paint job and color. They sculpted something that was absolutely stunning and has depth, detail, is interesting to look at. My first major issue is with the face on this figure. For me, it looks like they made the head to fit the helmet. You can see that the helmet is like the harkening of the eagle head, rather than making the helmet fit the head. And what I mean by that is that they fit her head in there and it looks like a square box, as opposed to on this figure, you can see that she has a very narrow, slender, sort of oval shaped face. And on this one, we have this strange, boxy face, really sort of wide face. So while the features look good, I do think the features look good, and you can tell that it's her. I think that they made a little bit of a misstep here with the shaping of the head by fitting the head into the helmet rather than making the helmet fit the head. But that said, I'm going to take the wings off to show the head here, the hair. See how they sculpted the hair so that we can turn her head around. It's fantastic. And that is what I was talking about with classic costume Wonder Woman. That was so easy. Look at, you can still tell that it's hair. It's still painted beautifully with depth, color, highlight, and darkness. And it doesn't hinder the movement with her of her head, even with her armor and her helmet on. You can do everything that you should be able to do. So they've got the technology, they just didn't do it with classic costume. Arms and legs movement are exactly the same. I was really impressed with the fact that they had her shoulder pads here, and they do not hinder movement at all. They are made out of vinyl, and they are attached right here above the shoulder joint, and they move and flex with the movement of the arm, which again, they've got the technology. It's super simple. I'd like to see a lot more figures doing that rather than having armor that prohibits movement. Looking at the back, the sculpt is beautiful. It just carries through so beautifully. She's got her silver armbands, which I love that they kept that detail. And I just love the chainmail detail on her legs. And speaking of her legs, let's look at the shape of them, which is gorgeous and sculpted and looks like a human body part. So with this one, once more, they have the technology. I don't know why they gave us these weird hot doggy legs, but side by side, you can see the difference between these straight up and down rectangular legs and these legs that are sculpted to look like a human being. Also, the musculature here that shows I don't need my female action figures to look like gladiators necessarily, but she's a strong woman. She's a fighter. She uses her body to defend herself, and having a muscular figure here versus this makes a difference to me. So I think they really did great with that on this particular character. There is a little bit of a problem with not a problem, but just a limitation in the movement of her legs. This is as far as they go, and that is because of armor. And in this particular case, I'm not necessarily upset because this type of chain armor does hinder movement. So that is actually just realistic. And in her arms, we still get a great double jointed bend that works. And we do not have any of those problems. Her armor does lift, but you see how her body continues up. So when we're looking at her head on, that plate of armor lifts, but there is body that continues under it rather than just a hole of negative space. So they did a great job there on the torso. And she doesn't really bend forward because of this piece here. So we're missing a little bit of her forward movement here. I think we might have had the same problem in the back, but she doesn't hold that pose. So since she's not able to hold it, it really doesn't affect anything. Now, this figure I'm even more puzzled by. As I put on the wings, I will explain to you. Let me show you that each wing is articulate. It's an articulate peg, so you can pose the wings in different ways. And other than the wings, though, on this figure, there are no accessories. She did not get a sword. She didn't get a lasso. So I'm going to use one of these for her, I think, because the other classic came with two. And I know the wings are a heck of an accessory. Like, they're really impressive. You can pose them all the way back like this to 1, 2, 3 other points. They're impressive, they're gorgeous. I love that they move and you can do different things with them because they look pretty different in each pose. But having that be the only accessory, again, especially when she has hands that are sculpted and molded to hold something, I just don't understand why. I don't understand why she didn't come with an accessory. It bothers me, quite frankly. But that said, from top to bottom, this is a really impressive figure, and I'm starting to see her. I think with the movie being delayed, the excitement about these figures might be waning a little bit, so they're starting to turn up in more places. I actually saw both of these figures at Walgreens the other day, which was awesome. I do see multiverse figures there from time to time, but I really sort of expected these to be super sought after, and for a time they were, and I wasn't seeing them. Now I think that people are just sort of forgetting about the movie, which is unfortunate because it should be really good. So hopefully that doesn't, the movie isn't going to be hurt by the strange times that we live in. But overall, I really love this figure. I feel that this one is better than Classic because of the lack of articulation issues. She only has a couple. Her body is a better sculpt, but I am disappointed in the facial sculpt. So there's my Mcfarlane one-off on this. And on this one, I'm really happy with the facial sculpt and most of the design and sculpt and execution of her costume, but her legs are just strange. So there's the one-off on this one. This figure comes with a stand that is plastic and you can put around her waist so that you can pose her in flight, which is fantastic. I love that. And she also came with a commemorative trading card that is absolutely stunning. And I love. So those are my thoughts on the Wonder Woman 1984 action figures. I really like these figures, but again, for me, so many female action figures, and I'm kind of ending up feeling this way. Even when it's good, it's a little bit ado about not very much. The Golden Eagle armor is just born to be impressive and is probably the one that I'm most excited to display. But at the end of the day, these figures don't do very much. The accessories are lacking. While they look beautiful, they look stunning and mostly are well put together, the one-off issues for me kind of do bring them back down to that boring range that we end up finding for female action figures. I don't know what that's about. I think that they're working on it, and I hope that they'll get better in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching this long review. Let me know what you think about grouping reviews together like this. If you think it's too long and you don't like it, say so in the comments and I'll split these up in the future. If you think this was a good way to go about it, let me know that too. I'm so grateful for all of your opinions, your likes, your dislikes, just watching, comments, anything that you guys offer. I'm so grateful. Thank you for watching this video, and I will be back tomorrow with another one. Have a great day, friends. Bye.